so you've got a bit of an idea what we're going to be getting up to today. We also have a very interesting and diverse group of panelists at the front. We'll get a round of applause for them. So firstly, we've got Mariam Khan. She's the first Muslim councillor in East Birmingham. Secondly, we've got Shankar Gupta, Community Project Manager for Birmingham FC.
Then on my left, I have the lady Sheikh, so she's the head of women's game in Sheffield and the FAU council member and football coordinator. So here we are. And then on the far left, we have Rachel Pablo, so she's the National Football Development Manager at the Football Association.
So before we have our discussion with our panelists, I'd like to invite our very own Yasmin Nissa on stage. As most of you are aware, she's the co-founder of Saudi Women's.
Thank you for that, Sana, and good evening to all of you. Thank you guys for turning up today. It's really good to see you after all these times that we've had after Freedom Day, so good to have you guys. The event today, Building Bridges and Breaking Barriers, was meant to be a partnership with a group called the Hijabis from Paris. They're trying to play football at a structured level in Paris, but they can't due to the hijab ban. So what we're here today is to talk about the challenges that we as women face in all walks of life, but particularly within the sports industry. I want to say a huge thank you to our panelists, amazing panelists who are here today. Give them a big shout out. I also want to thank, as you all know already, my team who work behind the scenes tirelessly week in, week out to give you guys a safe space to play football in. Can we give a shout out to Alicia, Sana, Arud, Salima, and Khadija, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say you. And I want to give a thank you to FARENET as well, the global organisation that combats racism through sport. The reason that we're all here today, that we could play at somewhere like St. George's Park. Fortunately, this event was meant to happen in October for Football People Week, but it couldn't because of COVID-19. You know how many things have been held back because of COVID-19. But everything happens for a reason, and it is actually South Asian Heritage Month, so that's a great thing. So can we give a shout out to FARENET as well? And lastly, thank you to the FA. The reason that we are here today in St. George's Park is an incredible experience. You don't get to be at St. George's Park every single day. The team were here not very long ago training. It's South Asian Heritage Month. We're really, really lucky to have Rachel in the room. And Dal as well. Dal couldn't be here, but we've been joining the call very soon. He's the lead on inclusion and diversity. He's making strides for South Asians in football. So yeah, a big shout out to them. Just have a really fantastic evening. This is all about you guys. You make me really proud every time I see you every single week in, week out. I love to see you guys, your happy faces, see how much that football means to you, how much the club means to you. So you have a good evening. Make sure you get out there and set the pitch. And let's keep building bridges and breaking barriers. To speak to them.
This is where we test the technology silence. It's never an event or a meeting without technology. You know, just have to do it in tradition.
We'll do that in the comprehensive review as well. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the answer. Well done. Well done.
That's me. Do you put the meeting on YouTube?
Is it what you Hi, Dan, can you hear us?
Hello.
Yay!
Hello, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we can hear you. Dan, you just missed a quick introduction that Yasmin has done of you. She's said some great things. Everyone in this room, hopefully you can see. Oh, there's only. We've got a large number in this room. Feel here just to hear about panelists and even hear about the work that you have to do as well. So if you want to give a quick introduction about yourself and what you do and your achievements, basically.
Okay, no problem. So can you all see me?
Yeah. Yes, we can. I think Obi's trying to turn the camera around so you can see us. Yeah, there we all are. There we all are, guys.
Hi, it's Darren here. I'm very sorry I couldn't be there with you today. I'm suffering from COVID, back in the COVID-19, so unfortunately I didn't want to come over there and pass it here. That would be very irresponsible of me to do that. But welcome to George's Park. Great to have you over there. It is the home of England. You just witnessed England get to the finals of this first Euros and any major final in 55 years. So you're in a very good place, a world-class facility. And as you all know, welcoming you there today is it's great to have you there. I wish I was there. But as we go in terms of what we're doing and what the FA is doing, our commitment is to drive out discrimination from the game. It's very important that we commit to doing that, and we've done for the next 3 years, taking us up to 2024. So you will see our anti-discrimination strategy that's coming out in September of this year, but also our FA strategy. That one of our big game changer objectives is to remove discrimination from the game in any way that we can. And that's how we make football for everybody. That's how each and every one of you can get involved in the game. That's how people across various protected characteristics can get involved in the game, have access to the game, enjoy the game, and be involved as much or as little as they want to be. As you all know, we have an Asian inclusion strategy as well, which is more than just the Muslim community, it's also the various communities across Asia. But the Asian inclusion strategy that is bringing opportunities to communities is another strategy which is really about how we embed people from Asian backgrounds into football. It's how we raise awareness of pathways to football. It's the way in which we are raising awareness across grassroots football. There is a specific piece of work around women and girls, and we also want to engage more and communicate more with as many people as possible from the South Asian diaspora. When it comes to specifically to Muslim communities, then of course we do various things with the Muslim community. We've recently just celebrated Ramadan and Eid, of course, when we did the first ever corpse prayer at Wembley Stadium. We've never done that before. These are the kind of things that we are now trying to do to ensure that people from the Muslim community feel that they are part of this game. It's very important that we do that. And of course, just kind of bringing the bigger picture in, because I mentioned England reaching the senior tournament final in 55 years. Even if you put the score and the result to one side, upon losing the penalty shootout, of course, some of our black players were subject to racial abuse. And on Sunday, just gone, Lewis Hampton, after winning his 8th British Grand Prix, was the target of online racial abuse. And this time, this was something that won a major sporting event. And of course, this week, in the last few weeks, you will have seen a report by the Rugby Trust that said that if you are from a diverse background, then actually these individuals are usually from consistently lower paid jobs. They often live in lower socio-economic structures, and actually more people from diverse communities could die from COVID-19 as well. So let's not forget how the pandemic has already disproportionately affected those communities. you know, and has had a disproportionate impact on people from diverse communities. I guess it's also worth saying that this week was Eid al-Adha. You know, of course, you will all celebrate Eid al-Adha. You know, it's a festival in Islam which is about family and faith. And yet, we still see far-right tropes and conspiracy theories about how Muslims continue to embed themselves in public consciousness, perhaps in a negative way. And recent research has also said that actually 35% of people think potentially that Islam is generally a threat to the British way of life. So these are the kind of things that we just need to get rid of. We need to continue to push, continue to ensure that we give everybody equal access to the game, especially those that are from various communities. And of course, today we're talking about the Muslim community. And it's the same particularly around the tribal communities, and the World Trust said that actually there are inequalities across various aspects of life, health, education, criminal justice, immigration, politics, employment. There are inequalities in all of those. And religiously and racial hate has actually gone up. Even where you are today in the West Midlands, there's been a 23% increase of hate crimes in the West Midlands since 2020. So, you know, these things exist. We need to do everything possible through the vehicle football to ensure that people have equal access to this game. And of course, football, as you know, is a vehicle change. It is a way of tackling these collective consciousness, and we all saw that when we got to the final. So our role, of course, as an FA, the role that our county FA do, the role that Salt Italian will do, is to really to create environments that offer equal platforms, is to allow people to be their true selves, for us to learn from our differences, and bring about as much productivity that we can from that. We need to move away just purely about the numbers and actually the diversity, and actually making people feel like they are welcomed, that they feel like there is a sense of belonging. So that's really all I wanted to say. My colleague, Rachel Padman, I can't see her, but there she is. She's helping and leading on a lot of the work that we are doing across the Asian inclusion strategy, specifically to husband and Muslim women. She'll also talk about the PR work we've got with Nike and a few other things. And the work of the women's game and the girls' game, specifically on role models and generating better insight. So have a great time. Congratulations to Salt Italian, Obi and the team, because I think you guys are doing some really great work. And I've always said that we can't do the work by ourselves. We have to partner with the right individuals, the right organisations to ensure that we are empowering people on the ground. So that's all I really wanted to say. Enjoy yourselves. Have a great time this evening. I hope it goes really, really well. I do apologise, I cannot be there, but a lot of people are going to get sick over the next week just to with you. So yeah, have a great time. I look forward to seeing all the pictures. If you've got any questions for me, I'm happy to take them.
Perfect. I will help you recover quickly. Sorry, any questions from the audience? This is where they'll all get quiet.
Thanks, Dad. Thanks. Have a great time.
Thank you, Nicholas. Bye.
Bye, boss. She has turned it to work.
So guys, let's give a very big round of applause to Dal and Eva Yasmin. So thank you.
Okay, so now what we're doing is passing the mic around to each panelist. They'll have about 5-6 minutes where they'll give a brief introduction about themselves. They'll talk about how they're in their respective industries empowering women, and also the challenges of the narrative, breaking barriers, building bridges. I'll start off with Mariam.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to just start off by saying thank you guys for inviting me. Thank you, Obaid and the girls, for inviting me to be on this panel today. And like Sally just said, I don't know if it was a bridge in the early introduction. So my name is Mariam Khan. I am one of the local councillors representing the Arrock ward in Birmingham. I was elected onto the council a long time ago now. When I was elected, I was the youngest ever councillor. Since then, there are younger councillors there. I was 21 years old when I was elected. I was in my final year at university, studying economics at Leicester. And I basically did something that was very much unheard of and unseen, especially in inner city Birmingham politics. They had me a female councillor in the ward for over 20 years, so pretty much all of my life, basically, there were no female representatives on the patch. And it was a very long time ago, I'll tell you my age, that was 9 years ago, I'm 30 years old now, so it just feels like, I can't believe it's been that long. But back then, some of the barriers I faced, even getting in, and I now understand because when I was 21 years old, I thought I was really, obviously, I thought I was really mature and I knew what's what, and I was just, I just felt like I understood everything, and I was, well, why is it a shock that 21-year-old is being elected? Obviously, I've got an opinion, I've got views, I'm able to articulate myself, like it's not that much of a shock, but everybody else made a massive deal about it. 9 years later, I look back and I come across other young women who are 19, 20, 21, 22, probably similar ages to the room here, and I look back and I think, oh wow, that actually was an achievement. For me at the time, it was just something I was interested in doing. I enjoyed politics. I was able to pursue it because I had lots of support from my family. And even then, there were lots of barriers that we faced as a coming from a Pakistani Kashmiri background. Putting your young daughter in the front line of politics where it's completely full of men, in that public figure role was really unheard of. So my family were constantly just told that they were doing the wrong thing, and why are you making a stand as a councillor, and do you understand what that means, and how is that going to impact her future in terms of her personal life, and she's only very young, and she's going to have to go to meetings with men, and are you really thinking all these things through? I was lucky enough to have, like I said, lots of support from my family. My previous ward colleague was actually was my uncle as well, so he supported me a lot in terms of getting there politically, and I think that really mattered because I had that backing and support. But I also know that it's not that easy for lots of people and lots of women to get forward in their respective industries, maybe because they may not have that family support or help or people pushing them and encouraging them to do so. So I was lucky in that sense, but we got lots of backlash in terms of as a family. But anyway, fast forward, I have been serving the ward, I've had many elections in that time, possibly 3 or 4 elections, I've got another one coming up next year. And yeah, so I face challenges on a day-to-day basis, and I've noticed one thing throughout probably my career or my role is that the negativity and the criticism that I probably face is a lot more than my male colleagues will face. And I think I get that from residents, I get that from people I sort of generally meet in sort of work environments. And sometimes I think, sometimes it's not just that I think, but sometimes I've had like my family see me on days when I'm feeling really low and down about maybe stuff on social media, criticising stuff, and I think, right, I'm really doing my best, and all I'm getting is negativity and that sort of thing. And politics is a bit of a messy situation, and if you're not interested in it, then there's no way that you'd enjoy it. But I've always had a question: why are you still doing it? But I really enjoy it. And instead of sort of walking away, I thought, no, I'm going to fight, and I'm going to challenge these behaviours, and I'm going to stand up for what I believe in, and I've been able to do that throughout, but even inside, with my role in the council, I've had experience of chairing committees. I was the youngest chair of the scrutiny committee, and I've sort of been able to tell myself again and again that I'm actually good enough, and actually I had to do that very recently because I had a period of, you have to tell me when I'm running out of time. I had a oh, did you do that? Sorry. I'm really quick. You gave me first. I thought you were doing it first. I think it's going. You should come to me in the end because we have to move on and you guys are going to go there. Sorry. But anyway, so more recently, I'm going to tell you as a woman, I faced maybe some personal challenges, and I think I'm just coming out of that now because in the past sort of 2 years, 2 to 3 years of my life, whilst being a counsellor, lots of things have happened in my personal life. So in the space of 2 years, I'd say, I got married, bought a house, and I've had 3 babies, work out or not. All of this has happened, and it's meant that I've got twins. So all of this has happened, and it's meant that I'm having to juggle, well, I've had to juggle like personal life, pregnancies, twin pregnancy, everything that comes with that, and obviously once the babies are out, and looking after the babies, and then also just obviously going back into work and having to almost sort of re-prove to everybody around me, I'm still here and I do believe in myself and I'm good enough to be here. And just because I've had children, and just because that's something that I wanted to have in my life, and God obviously planned, the twins were not planned, that was God's plan. But I'm grateful that they're here now. Obviously that, just because that's happened in my life, doesn't mean that everything I was doing before I became a wife and a mom has gone. It doesn't mean that I need to change my steer of sort of my own personal goals and ambitions. In fact, I'll take them along my journey with me. And it's taken me probably a few months to have to get to that stage, but I think I'm back there, and I think I'm, able to, I've kind of coached myself a bit of support. But the reason I'm telling you this is because obviously throughout life, you will have different changes in your life, and you will have different sort of challenges and different hurdles. And it's okay to feel like that. So I always thought maybe in my, when I'm 28, 29, 30, I maybe won't feel as challenged, but clearly other things have happened and made me have to remind myself of who I am. So what I'm trying to say to you all is, whatever happens to you guys in your lives, I know this is about sport and it's about breaking barriers in sport and building bridges, but I just think that there's lots of things that can, being here, you guys have to face lots of personal challenges to be here anyway, for solid women to get settled anyway. So I know that our personal lives are very much linked in us being able to, you guys being able to achieve in sport, because I'm just about to walk right now after, side note, being in hospital. I just got out last week, which is why you'll see me sort of hopping and walking slowly. But I just about walk, but it's the reason why you guys are able to progress in sport. But I just thought I'd sort of give you a bit of my life in a bit of a nutshell. There's lots of other stuff that's gone on in my life, and I'm not going to take any more time. But point is, keep going. I think you guys are fantastic. Every time I speak to a babe about Salty Women's, I genuinely feel proud that you guys have come this far, and the fact that we're here right now at St George's Park, straight after the Euros, just gives you a bit of a magical feel. And despite everyone telling me maybe I shouldn't be travelling without my Zimmer frame and being here today, I was like, I need to be here. Like, I can't. When else am I going to get an opportunity, having no experience in football, to come and visit here? So thank you guys for making that possible, and I'll end there. Thank you.
Don't worry, we're going to speak to our lovely guests over there. You'll have loads of time. We won't stop you there. So moving over to Rachel now. No, sorry, not Rachel.
It's alright.
I have to do that one.
I've been called worse ways, it's fine. You give me the mic, I apologise, you give me my big voice. So I'm Chantal from Birmingham City Football Club. I work for the community department, so I'm an inclusion coordinator. I've been there for about 3 years now. Before that, I was a support worker for young people. I've been involved in football all my life since probably I was about 9. I've been at my job, like I said, about 3 years, and in terms of sort of barriers and bridges and those types of things, at the moment I'm still the only female coach, which isn't good enough in terms of our department. Hopefully that will change moving forward. We've got to do more stuff with our local communities. Obviously I spoke to Obi and Yasmin about some plans that we've got moving forward with you guys, because obviously within sort of small heat from Portsley Green we need to be doing more. And the club, I was so frustrated when I got there. We wasn't doing more, and it was a bit like, well, why? And it was funny just because no one cared, which, was quite annoying. So obviously I'm there, and hopefully things will change moving forward. Yeah, exactly. No, I was like, yeah, this isn't on. So yeah, we've got some plans, which is better than where it was sort of again was soccer. I've been at my football club, so away from work, at Leaford Athletics. So I've been there 16 years now volunteering, which is a long time. So we've got under 9s right the way through to women. So we've got 7 teams. Obviously, I know you guys are in the infancy. Obviously, you've got sort of your women's team, but moving forward, hopefully there will be plans to sort of maybe have some younger age groups and those types of things, which will be great. There's still people in the first team that I taught at under 10s, which is great to see, and I think that's good for the younger ones coming through. And obviously for you guys again, they've got lots of role models here, which is great. And obviously I'll claw back a little bit of time, and obviously if anyone's got any questions later, they're more than welcome to ask them.
We'll do questions at the end once it's spoken.
Okay, no worries. But thanks for the invite. I don't really feel like I deserve to be on this panel. I'm obviously these guys, so thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Solitarians and Yaz and Obi and everyone who's made today happen, and Rachel and Beth for organising such a brilliant event. So my name's Zuleika and I'm from Preston, so I've travelled a little bit just to get here today, so I'm really, really excited to be joining you. I'm really passionate about supporting underrepresented communities, building their confidence, leadership capabilities, so that they can go on to inspire others. So that's really why I'm doing what I'm doing. I joined Rachel on the FA Asian Women in Football National Steering Group. So that involves supporting the Asian community, getting them involved in football, whether that's coaching, playing, refereeing, and making them generally more visible, increasing that representation. Because as you know, having yourself here today, having different role models in the room, it's such a big, important area where we mean that you can't be what you can't see. So a little bit about me. I first started volunteering at a trampolining club, so nothing to do with football. I was bouncing high and competing in all these different competitions. And I went along to my local club. And I said, look, I'd like to just shadow, the trampoline coach, just to see, a little bit more about what coaching is all about. And they said, yeah, that's fine, shadow the coach. So after a couple of weeks, they started to see that I had something about me, that I was turning up on time, that I was starting to ask questions, I was curious to know more. And they said, Zuleika, do you want us to put you through your level 1 coaching badge? And I said, yes, I'd really love to, get involved and coach. And I'm a bit of an introvert, and today sitting here, I didn't think I would be sat here at your age. But that coaching experience, when I was coaching young people with disabilities and adults and children, that gave me the confidence to actually go on to develop different sessions and talk to different groups, step out of my comfort zone, and that is such a big step for me there. And now I then moved on to football coaching. So I got in touch with my local club, and I said, look, I'd like to put in, I'd like to get involved in some football coaching, and they helped me and supported me through my coaching badges. And it was at that point when I thought, actually, I want to take a step back from coaching and start to empower other young people. And then through the university, I was able to get in touch with different departments. So that was about being curious, getting to know more. And I think that's really important when we're looking to step out of our comfort zone and wanting to progress our career. Because I think a lot of the time we think, oh, it'll come to me, I don't have to actually do anything extra. And I think it was at that point I was able to go and get in touch with different departments and go on to coach refugees and orphans in Greece and Morocco, and that was really, really out of my comfort zone. And those opportunities helped me grow. And I don't think for a lot of girls from your the Asian community they're supported as much. And I've been doing a bit of focus group with Rachel and the Youth Sport Trust, looking at schools in Sheffield around why are those girls not playing sport. And a lot of it is because they're not supported by their families. It's that lack of confidence, that self-esteem. And I think we should be doing more to empower these young girls. And I think everybody here in the room today is a leader. don't ever think that your voice isn't powerful enough. And a little bit like what Adele was saying, it's not just in football where we're seeing these inequalities, it's in society. So in my current role now as the president of the Students' Union at the university, we see inequalities where Black and Asian students aren't progressing with high level degrees compared to their white counterparts. And it's like, why is this? It's because they're not having that sense of belonging. So I'm doing more to empower now at my institution Asian and Black students to have a voice, be in that representation kind of role. And so over the past couple of years, we've actually seen Black and Asian students coming in to represent on their course, represent as school presidents, and now we have our first international Black officer from Nigeria. So it's just like we've seen such progress, and it's only because we're heading towards a stronger sense of belonging and empowering and coaching these students through. And I think we're all in a position to inspire our local community. And I'm going to leave it there, but I'm going to go to the next one.
Last but not least, we have Rachel. Thank you very much. Hey guys, I'm so proud to be here and see you all. I've known Obi for many years, and him and Sabrina Dale always told me about the famous salt battalions, and I'm actually seeing you all in person. And when I saw you all on the advert during the Euros, I was jumping around my room going, I'm going to be in a panel with them soon, and they're all famous. And I'm also really proud because I'm a Brummie. I grew up in Hall Green and I went to Moseley School, and I'm so proud that I went to a school that was really multicultural. I grew up with every religion you can imagine, and I'm so proud of that because I love being from Birmingham, because we're in a city where we are about inclusion and diversity, and so that's why I'm really happy to be here with you guys. So thank you very much for inviting me. It's brilliant. And I'm really sorry, Chantal, because I've got to say this, I'm a Villa fan. She said she used to, so I don't need to tell you the people you work for. You should just wear a Villa top in the winter. Yeah, so guys, I'm a very privileged person because for 23 years, which I know is older than some of you are, I worked at the FA developing women's football. And I did it because when I was 7 years old and I played in my school playground in Hall Green, I was banned from playing because I was a girl. And I didn't understand why my gender had anything to do with the fact that I beat the boys at playing football. So why couldn't I play with them? And I always said that one day I would change that somehow. And I got lucky that in my 20s I got a job at the FA and I've spent my whole career trying to give opportunities to girls and women to play again. And now, in these last few months, my job is all about inclusion and diversity of women's football. So it's about trying to make sure that every female from every community feels that if they want to be part of the national game, that's why it's called the national game, because it's all our game. And that's why seeing you all here tonight makes me so proud, because you are the role models. You are the ones that will take women's football to the next level, and we need every one of you to be that role model for us, because it's not about me, it's about you guys. And that's why we have this Asian women's football group with people like Zoe and Sabrina Dale on that group, because we're asking you all to tell us what to do, tell us how to make it better, because it's your game, and that's what makes me really proud every day to work in this job still after 23 years. Because I feel we are making a difference to everybody. And just something that's on your desk today is the Nike Pro hijab. How long have we needed, and we need something like that for our communities and the Muslim communities that really needed them. And now Nike and the FA are working together to ensure that we try and get as many of these out to our communities as possible so that we get to wear them. So I hope that you've got the right size on there, if not, swap them around the tables and use them. But listen, I'm sure there'll be time for other things for us to talk about, but just to say, keep going, keep believing that football is for you, and really enjoy your time at St George's Park, because it doesn't matter how many times I come here, I love it. And I come up the drive and I'm so proud. And just last thing, in the reception area at the back, there's the caps board. It's of every female that's got a female male that has got 50 caps or over for playing for England. Go and see the two players who've got 150 caps, because they're both female. Thank you for letting me come here. Cheers.
Thank you guys. Can we get a massive round of applause for all of our panelists? Okay, so now we're going to open up questions to the audience. We're going to have a little Q&A session. So if anyone has any questions, just raise your hand. Welcome to give you the mic. So is there anyone with any questions at all? Don't be shy.
Come on, Eli, you always get lots of family at football.
Okay, so I'm going to go here. We've got Mark.
Thank you so much, actually. For myself as a mother of a 16-year-old today, I've been really privileged to be with her. It's very emotional, actually. Since Maria went first, I'd like to ask yourself a question. As a counsellor, what would you advise the 16-year-olds to move forward as far as sports is concerned? What would be your most effective advice to them?
I think the fact that, thank you for your question, by the way. I think the fact that you're here already is one step on that journey. So it's brilliant that for you, you're already here, but for those who, if we're talking about 16-year-olds in general, my advice would be, in terms of a practical step, to try and get in touch with any sort of grassroots organisation if you've got that there. Locally, we've obviously got Solid Women's and Solid Stallions, and I know in Birmingham there's many other different football clubs. But sort of my advice in terms of in a local authority council kind of role is that anywhere that you feel that there's a gap missing and you want that gap to be filled and you think that it isn't being filled by the local authority or by the council support, then get in touch with someone who you think can help make a difference. And the reason I say that is because many years before I became a councillor, I sort of volunteered, I did lots and lots of stuff, and I used to go to meetings where I was the youngest person and the next person older than me was probably like 30 years older, genuinely. And I would stand up and ask questions of the member of parliament at the time and say, well, why isn't there things for young people, or what facilities have we got for young people in this area? How can I spend my time, in the holidays? What is there? And then they would put me in touch with relevant things, get me on different funding panel opportunities. And my journey kind of started because I asked those questions and I challenged those who probably maybe are not used to being challenged by younger people, but I did that from an early age. And I see now that my journey didn't start when I got elected at 21, it started many years before that. So at the age of 16, I was vocal and active. And in terms of progressing in sport, if that's something that you think there's a gap and you want that to be filled, side note, I'm also the scrutiny chair of the Commonwealth Games Physical Activity and Culture Overview and Scrutiny Committee in Birmingham City Council. Obviously, we've got the Commonwealth Games coming to our city next year, so that's going to be a huge opportunity for every person who lives and works in Birmingham and around Birmingham. I'm so excited for us for that. If there's things that we can do to involve Sally, we've already got one of our hometown heroes here. If we can, involve you on that journey and ensure that you benefit from the games, and there's a legacy aspect involved, not just during the days that we've got games happening, even beyond that, that we can get the council to ensure that our young people benefit in the future as well. Then get in touch, have those conversations, and I'm here now, and obviously later on as well, you can get in contact with me and we can see how we can help people. Those in the room and obviously across the city as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. So, audience, does anyone have any other questions at all? Oh, we did have one there, yeah. Okay, just coming around.
Hello, my name's Steve and I'm slightly losing my voice, so if you don't understand my question, just ask me to repeat it. So I'm not actually part of the Salty standing team or anything, but I heard that and I came across them, and I'm currently doing research, a master's piece of research in women and experiences in sport, and it ranges across negotiation of identity, culture, religion. And my question was aimed towards Rachel and Zuleika, is that right? I just wanted to know, do you think we have enough of the right people around the tables? And if that's a yes or no, what ways can we try and get a lot more opportunities for people to get involved so that we have enough of the right people or more people to like make the changes that we need to make? Thank you.
That's a great question, and the main reason I set up the National Women's Asian Women's Football Group was because I didn't feel there was enough people around the table to talk. So the group was set up, and I want to let Zoe speak about it because she's a member of that rather than me speak about it. But I do feel that by having these 20 amazing Asian women help us to shape the game is probably one of the best things I've ever done, because that way we're hearing from the real experiences on the ground of what it really is like. So I'm going to give this to Zoe because then I don't look as if I'm trying to pick up the group, because Zoe's a member and she can talk quite happily about me.
Thanks, Rachel. So just in general, sport and people sat on boards, we know they're currently, represented by white people. However, there are, changes being made across the industry, and particularly in football, like ISIS on the Asian group, and there is, an agenda. However, it's led by, Asian women, and there's just some fantastic work happening throughout the country, and I think it's really important that we have brilliant people like Rachel, who's a brilliant ally. She doesn't have to be from the community, and that's what's really powerful when we have people like Rachel who's there to support. So Rachel's been supporting me, mentoring me, able to provide you with a steer and a direction. And I guess following your question around how we can get more representation going forward, I think it's really important if you're looking at getting onto boards and looking to get into like leadership roles, it's important to find the people that can support you and expand your network, and don't just look in the football industry. Try to look into other different industries, other sectors where they can really help you progress your career. So you might want to seek out a mentor, for example, or someone who can give you a bit of coaching. But if you try to go alone, you're not going to go far. I think you have to ensure that you've got a really great support network around you. And there's a lot of work happening with organisations around reverse mentoring, for example, now. So a lot of people from, Asian communities, Black communities, are going into organisations to say, how about doing it this way? And actually being curious and wanting to know more, like the panel spoke about before, asking those questions from a young age, and then, then ended up in politics. We had been to a social before I became president, and I was a course rep at the time, and I didn't know it was a CEO who was just in the we went into like a social hamburgers and stuff, and I was just curious, so everyone sat down and thought, let me just go and speak to the people in the room and figure out who's who, and I started introducing myself, asking him questions, what do you do, and then it wasn't until I got elected, it was like, I could tell there was something about me. So, you've got people here from Birmingham City, you've got Rachel here, you've got so many different people, not just from Salty Stallions. Have a chat to them today, let them know what your name is, let them know what you do. And I think the more you keep doing that, the more you put yourself out of your comfort zone, you might think, I'm a bit shy. That's how you start building those connections.
Can I just come on to say that some of those members of that group now are getting jobs in football because their confidence has risen, because they're volunteering and happening on a national scale. You can see how great Zoe's, Zoe was really quiet when I first met her, and look at her now, she's in the shop, because she's so confident in what she does, and she's such a good role model for us. And I'm really proud that some of those members of my group now are becoming board members, they're becoming members of the FA in terms of getting jobs at the FA, and that's because they're just in the right place at the right time with the right people who really support them now. So all of you, you've all got opportunities if you want to now to work in football, and the more you volunteer and put yourself forward, as Zoe said, the more chances will come for you. And we've certainly seen a change in the makeup of so many of the roles, because I remember when there was no women, and now we're seeing lots of women in the FA, and now we're seeing lots of women from lots of different backgrounds, which is just fantastic.
And just to add to that, sometimes you have to do things for free, you have to volunteer your time, you're not always going to get paid for doing these things, but that's where your passion, your determination, your motivation for doing what you're doing really shines through. So just like to leave it.
So I've got a question for Chantal.
We have OB as well.
Sorry.
So,
Sorry, can I ask a question?
I was just as easy.
Sorry.
So I didn't carry on.
The question I wanted to ask, it was for Rachel and Chantal.
As we've known each other so long.
This question is obviously, it's amazing to see a lot of you who turn up and play footballers. Last week, the end of the day, I was like 100 and 204 girls registered at sort of grooming, which is amazing. And sometimes it's difficult for us to take it for every single person because of, at the moment, we've got 1 or 2 coaches at most. So I have 2 questions. One I would raise around how a number of girls have approached Jasmine and myself and said, how can we get coaches so we don't have to rely on external people to be a coach? We mentioned Sabrina, I'm sure those who have been coached by Sabrina, she was amazing, but just in one hand, all the way so quick to possibly to help coach a session. That's not sustainable. We need to create really, so how can the FA, what does the FA have to offer in terms of getting more of our women and girls into coaching? For Pavel and Chantal, you're on the doorstep of where we are, literally actually drive Birmingham City Football Club. We've worked together for years as well, so I'm sure we won't take it any other way. How can Blues, Birmingham City Football Club and our girls work together? Blues got a fantastic female side playing in the Super League. How can the girls come and see games? I don't want to be in the spot, so if you're going to put what you don't have to say no comment. But yeah, that's the question. How can we link better with the South and Blues? And then how can the girls get involved in the coach education system? Thank you.
I think I'll start. Thanks for that, Oaks. So me and Oaks and Yasmin obviously met a couple of months back via Zoom, so it's nice obviously to see you both face to face. Like I said, when I got there wasn't much going on, and I was very annoyed with that, and it's taken a long time to sort of change sort of some opinions and some of the staff. Everyone that's there now wasn't there previous, so every staff member in the community department is brand new. So they've got fresh ideas, different values, different opinions. I look after all the disability football again. When I got there was literally no team. We've got 6 teams now, which is amazing. Moving forward, we have had some emails going around. So we've got a project starting, hopefully September, October time with some of your younger members, and hopefully some of you guys obviously will be able to attend that. Also, obviously with the women's team now playing at St Andrews, that's great. Again, we can get hold of complimentary tickets, and we'd love to obviously invite you guys down to quite a few games. Obviously COVID restrictions and all that hopefully will be gone with. But again, yeah, that's something that we're really keen on. And then lastly, again, what as first spoke about is obviously just the diversity of our workforce. We're running a camp for the whole of the 6 weeks. We've got them coming from 6 local schools. We've got Wincliffe, Regent Park, Nelson Mandela, 3 of us. And you look at our workforce, and it does not represent the community that we work in. And I'm telling her, so hopefully moving forward, and I'm sure, Rachel will be keen with this. We've obviously got, obviously FA level ones, obviously there's the Playmakers course, and then again, it's just like Rachel said earlier, and to do with volunteering. Obviously I've got my club, we're based in Solihull, but in terms of me putting myself out there, I'm happy to, take a few people under my wing, and, you can come and help me out for, a couple of months and those types of things. Obviously, like you said, it's volunteering, just experience and exposure, which is great. So yeah, that's it from me.
Thank you.
At the beginning of this season, the FA changed the way that we were working in our communities. We decided that we would have what were called regional coach development managers, and they would be absolutely there for two priority areas. One, women's football, and two, Black and Asian coaches. And the brilliant thing is, you guys fall in both categories. So they are the priority areas for us in terms of coach development. We have got a lot of bursaries that we wish to give out to help people in their coaching journey, of which, we want to make sure they go to the right people who have aspirations to be coaches. And if you read the women's football strategy, one of the big things in there is to diversify our coach development and our role models going forward. So anybody that wants to be a coach, and I'm sure Sabrina, if she was here, would say, we really want to help, and we really want to support. So unfortunately, Vicky's had to go, but Vicky's just started at Birmingham FA a couple of weeks ago, and she was here for the first part of tonight. One of her roles is to really help to find people who want to be coaches, and then our regional development managers will come in and look at how we can offer the bursaries to help you on your journey. But everybody can do their playmaker. Chantal's just mentioned it. You do it online. It's an introduction to coaching. And you might want to just try it. And if you really like it, you think, actually, I could be a coach, and this is what I could really aspire to be. And then we can help you with your bursaries and your support to do that. So without a doubt, we want your club to be run by you and your friends so that it becomes sustainable for the rest of all your lives, and you know that when you all grow old, you've still got all the generations running your club for the rest of ever. And that's what we want you guys to be able to do. So it's your club and remains your club. So the more we can help to provide coaching opportunities and bursaries for you, the more we will do. So for sure we're going to help.
So the question I was going to ask was something similar that I've already asked Chantal, so I'll just move on now to Rachel. Peter Warren is very influential working with the FA in women's game. What kind of advice can you give us girls? Because at the minute we just play as friends and play recreational. We want to take it to the next level now, we want to enter a league and have some sort of structure in place. What can you advise?
Okay, so we need to get you into the Birmingham County FA League for sure, so you can play, if that's what your aspiration is, you want to play in a league, and that's something that Vicky can help to do, because she can work with you to ensure that you have all your constitution, you're a charter standard club, all the things. It's called now England Football Affiliated Club. That's the new way of talking about charter standard clubs, but Vicky can help to do that. And she literally, as she came in, was saying to Obi, that's something, she'd really like to look at to get you in that league. So because you've got a accountability development officer who's brand new, she's really eager to help. She came tonight, in your first couple of weeks, she'll give you a lead on that to get you into a league and play football. But what's really important for you guys to know is that we're trying to develop lots of opportunities for all players, so you don't have to just play in a league. We want recreational football, we want soccer sides, so if you want to just play some music and have the music blasting on and you just want to get fit, you can do that. For me, my age, I just want to do walking football. I don't want to run anymore, I'm too old, so I want walking football as my offer. And actually, I know some younger people who don't like running as well. So you're going to have us right for them. So what's important is, we would love it if one day your club offered everything. From little girls doing a Wildcat Centre, all the way to old people like me doing a Just Play walking football session. If you've got guys can actually have a club that offers everything, you'll get women doing all of it and young girls doing it all. But if you only do one thing, it's really hard to cater for everybody. So I hope your aspiration will be like I hope it will be, and I'm going to push it to you all. Please make your club the biggest club and offer everything for your girls. And we'll try and help you with Birmingham County FA, with Birmingham City Football Club and ourselves to help you to achieve that.
Oh, sorry. One more question. We'll make this one the last one because we're just pressing for time.
No, we don't want to take up your football time.
I just wondered, what's the representation at the minute with the national female squad? And is there much change in that over the years? So with the younger age group, is there a difference in that? And how do you see that changing and developing?
Yeah,
moving forward?
Really good question, because at the moment we're really disappointed with the representation of the senior squad. That's everybody at our actual senior squad themselves, the FA. It was diverse in terms of we had a lot of black players, a lot of white players. It's diverse now. We have no Asian players in the senior women's side, we never have them. But what I'm really proud to say is if you look at the England youth setup, then we have 3 Asian female players that are doing brilliant. Simran, Maz and Asmita. So we are getting players now coming through the system. In a few weeks' time, we are launching a campaign called Discover My Talents. And with that, the whole campaign is about finding the absolute nuggets of girls that are out there that probably don't think that we're going to be there for them, but we want them to play for England. We want our England squad to be representative of absolutely everybody. So Discover My Talents is coming out soon, and it's about everybody being able to know exactly how to nominate people to be able to be seen. So that wherever you live, wherever you're from, someone will say, we want to see you and we want to give you the opportunities to become an England player if you wish to. And that all comes from the fact that we're not happy about the representation at the moment, for sure. And I can explain what happened with that. And a lot of that was because we changed where girls and women played their football. We wanted them to be on better facilities. And unfortunately, a lot of those better facilities were in areas that people just couldn't get to without a car. And that's where we made the mistake. We tried to increase the facilities and make them better, but people couldn't get to them. So that's something we've got to change. We've got to make our talent come to you. And if you've got out there really talented players, we've got to find a way to support you and not expect you to have to travel everywhere to get to the support that you need.
And can I just ask another question then? Are you just working with girls in sport, or how about community? Because I suppose for these female role models with the stallions, they must probably really have to challenge stereotypes and sort of, community. So I wonder, do you go out into the community as well and promote grassroots football that way as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, I'm really conscious of what these girls are on the pitch. So, just to say, we've got national partners like Football Beyond Borders, like Amnesty International UK. We work with big partners who are in the communities, who know the communities better than we do, and we go through and work with those people. And that's what's really key, is the communities know the communities better than anybody else, and that's who we have to reach out to. I want them to all go and play football, so we'll go and talk on the side about it. Is that all right?
Thank you.
Thank you to our panelists for sharing their experiences and also answering our audience questions. Just before we jump into the next part of today, please allow us to introduce someone else we have here today. So a lot of you have already met her, Suzanne, who we've actually...
I know I live around the English team, and I have looked at the Welsh home ground, and there's more like stallions, so I think I might be sort of coming over here more often. So please get out and play football.
So for those who don't know, Suzanne's from the Royal Navy, and I think she's here with her colleagues from the Armed Forces. So that's just a quick introduction, but we will have the opportunity to get a little chat from her as well, just before dinner. So I'll then hand it over to Sana.
So now it's that time that you've all been waiting for again. Football!
So ladies, we've got...
When you came down the drive, you saw a national service pitch on the right-hand side of the floodlights. It's called the David Beckham pitch. I will direct everybody. We'll go for a walk.
Okay. And just take 45 minutes as well. So if guys want to get changed, just take 5 minutes, because the quicker we get changed, the longer we're going to Sorry guys, just a quick one. If any of you guys want to leave your bags and your blanket, it's safe to do so in this room.
Can you just take a quick picture?
That's still you can see. Could I steal?
Girls.
Oh, please do.
Are you, guys?
Or I'm coming to you once again.
Do you need a hand?
I'm just,
You wanna?
I'm gonna come out, yeah, but just.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw it on the way, I'll just go and probably walk slow.
no worries. Thank you.
I'll be quick. One of my shoelaces untied.
Yeah, I had to tell someone not to sit there. It's like,
Did you do that neat one, Muffin?
yeah, even if you see munching live,
Oh, 1 second, hold on, let's start.
Spade, before they move, can I
Now.
go
You want to get
jump
with
into that? Yeah,
Yeah.
my phone is just to my side.
Anissa, can you take a photo with this phone? Mariam's in there. My mouse isn't working. I can't stop the YouTube live. One more. Son.
Oh, yes, please.
Will you like finish yours first?
No, we yourself? Oh, okay, yeah, I just wanted a picture of mine.